One of the things that I love most about teaching is getting to foster whatever experiences my students want, seeing the light on their faces and seeing true enjoyment coming from playing a musical instrument or using their voice to find that music and find that energy and creativity within themselves. I like to be around watching, kind of witnessing that happen. I think that's one of the best things where I get to see other people enjoy themselves.
I've been playing music ever since I was 5 with Jenni Charles. She's been a really close family friend for my family and a lot of other people close to me.
We've been having a really good time together. This is on and off with touring, so we've never really had quite a steady schedule until I had my daughter and we were spending some more time at home.
She has been doing driveway jams and different things with me and my little brothers.
We really got to hone in on her musical endeavors and with Declan as well. So right about the time that I had my daughter was when Declan and Elia decided that they were really gonna make something of their group.
I probably got a guitar when I was really young. I never really touched it. It kind of just sat in my room. And for years, you know, I never really played much guitar. And then in about 5th or 6th grade, Jenni Charles became my teacher, and she kind of had the whole class pick an instrument, and I picked up a guitar, and I kind of haven't stopped playing it since.
I call myself a little fly on the wall of their performances, but they like to give me a little too much credit of just being there and, you know, teaching them how to play together with another person or with other people is a whole different skill than learning to play an instrument by yourself, and I got to be a part of that, and it was amazing to witness. You know, we always joke, she's like one of my daughters, you know, like I feel very close to her. She is, like she said, is, you know, a family member. We're so close with their family now, and we've grown up so much together in so many ways through music and just life experiences as well. You know, sometimes we sit there and talk, and sometimes we play music, and I think that it's been just an incredible journey to get to witness her development as a human being and as a performer and a musician as well. Declan came to me wanting to learn more about singing and playing with Elia, and we kind of fostered that, and I taught him, you know, started teaching him like what you can do, what kind of licks you can do.
I find it really fun to explore around, and every time you write something new or come up with a lick, it kind of feels like you're going to the next chapter or moving on because you're adding in new licks and new things that you're learning, and it kind of advances what you're able to show.
To watch Declan and Elia grow up from learning to play their instruments and developing a passion for playing music in general, all the way to, you know, there are many paths that you can take with music. You can play in your living room for the rest of your life, or you can play in the bar, or you can play out at festivals, or you can tour. And one of the things that I love seeing with those two is that they went from these tiny little humans that just learning how to play music and taking that into really honing in their craft. When Declan and Elia played with us pre-pandemic, it was about 3 years ago, and they ended up doing a little tweener set at our amphitheater show. And I was bummed because I was like, Elia, like I didn't think she was gonna be here for the show. And then that day, I think, or maybe even that morning or the day prior, her mom told me that she was actually going to be in town and she was leaving the next day. I got in contact with Elia and I said, can you guys pull off a couple songs, knowing that, you know, they had taken a break during the pandemic as well, and we had only gotten together once or twice, you know, over the last couple of years with all three of us, and they pulled it off. They put some songs together, and I think it's so inspiring for kids that are out in the crowd to see other kids, essentially. I mean, they're almost 18, but not quite 18 yet. And so it's very inspiring for them to see someone closer to their age and say, oh my gosh, that's so cool, I can do that. But it came about very quickly. We would have given it more time had I known that they were going to be in town, but I just love how organically and quickly and how gung-ho they are. They're like, yes, we'll do it right away, you know, so they got into it, and we were very grateful for that. My husband, Jesse Dunn, is in Dead Winter Carpenters, and we met in 2009, and we started the band in 2010, and we started off playing music together and thinking, you know, like, we'll just do some side stuff. When he's in Tahoe, he had his other band, and I had another band at the same time, and so we decided, you know, we'll just kind of play on the side when our bands aren't playing, as they were kind of getting less and less shows together, and so we kind of formed Dead Winter Carpenters together, and it's been awesome. It's great to play in a band with my spouse. It's really fun. Obviously, it has its ups and downs. We have to figure out how to run a business together at the same time as how to keep our marriage alive, you know, which is great. It's easy to, I think it's easier to do than not to do, and a lot of people ask me, what is that like working with your spouse? But I think it's fun. We love bringing our daughter Mabel on stage. I think she likes it. She's starting to really get used to coming up when she hears her song, Green Room Baby. She comes up and sings with us. She's on the album too, on the Sinners and Freaks album on Green Room Baby. You can hear her going, ow! And she's getting to be a little star. You know, everybody's saying she steals the show, every show, and I always say I wouldn't have it any other way. I think it's great. My dad had me on stage from the time I was 2 years old, but prior to that, my mom toured with me in the womb as well. So I think it's kind of a family tradition at this point to be on stage and be on stage with family and friends, and it's all about that connection and just, you know, having a good time up there. If my daughter's not there, prior to us having a child, if there were kids in the crowd, I'd always try to put an instrument in their hand. Even last week, we were at the amphitheater, and there was one of my students was there, and I quickly gave her a tambourine. She wanted to get on stage, and like, here you go, like, let's do this, you know? It's so fun. If anyone can experience that feeling, I'm all for it, and I think Mabel enjoys it quite a bit. My favorite part about playing music in general is just the way that it makes me feel. I feel like I can really just be myself, be mellow when I'm playing and I'm in the moment. I think that when we play music, we can kind of forget and let go, and it's my own meditation, I would say. I am looking forward to being back on the road. I enjoy playing on stage. There was a time during the pandemic, however, where I was kind of thinking, you know, like, I'm not really sure if this is for me, which is weird because like I said, I was on stage since I was about 2 years old or in the womb, you know, and so it's always felt very natural to me. It's always felt like that was what I was supposed to do. It felt like that was my home. It felt like this is where I'm, you know, supposed to be, and this is what I have to offer to the world, is this kind of enjoyment and happiness. However, during the pandemic, it was kind of like I guess I didn't really ever think that I might get back to the stage, and then I was like, it came to a point where I started getting anxious and anxiety about getting on stage again, and then it took me, and it still takes me, some shows. I used to never ever be nervous, and now when I get ready for a show, I start to get anxious, and I think that's good a little bit, you know, to kind of get, it's like anxious, excited, kind of nervous, to have those feelings, you know, because for so long we were kind of feeling just kind of let down, and I think that it's good to have a little bit of those feelings and kind of experience that as well, kind of have those feelings of anxiety about doing something, and I guess what I'm trying to say is that at one point maybe I thought maybe I'm not going to do this anymore, but then once we started doing it again, I was like, oh yeah, this is great. Being on stage is a whole different experience, you know, where you're bringing something, an experience to a crowd of people, and you're trying to you're kind of taking that fulfillment and that enjoyment that you have within you that makes you happy for playing music and trying to portray that out to the crowd. So it's kind of an extra little oomph, and then when the crowd gives that energy back to you, you're creating this cyclical energy exchange, which just creates an unforgettable experience of unique enjoyment